How do you know if your fabrics go together? And then how do you know if your pattern's gonna work? We're gonna do a deeper dive on that today, so keep watching. Hi, it's Fran Morgan with Fabric Café, and I'm your fabric matchmaker. Now today we have 3 great stories for you that we're gonna jump into, and we have our very first here is from Sandy. And Sandy has sent in this lovely, I love it, fabric. It's a dark background with these beautiful pink, and I believe these are camellias. I may be wrong about that, but I believe these are gardenias. I'm not sure which. And then these lovely birds. So this is a really unique fabric, and we have a great story from Sandy. Let's read that to you. Sandy says, "My friend and I make up lap quilts and give them to cancer patients. It's such a rewarding ministry." And just a side note, thank you, Sandy, so much. I think that's fabulous. Sandy also says, "I started after going through breast cancer alone. I wanted people to know that someone cares. Often we have fabrics like this one that we just don't know what pattern to use or what fabric to pair it with. This one we've had since 2006. Please help." Well, Sandy, I think I've got something great pulled together for you, and I do love your fabric, and I think it's fabulous. So let's look at the quilt pattern that I have chosen first. Now, I have chosen sugar pie for your fabric, and there's a couple of reasons here, and we'll go into it in more detail on the table. But first, while we have it here, I just want to point out we do have a nice large block here for your fabric that you have sent in that I really think showcases it. It is also bordered here with a darker color, and it's got a little interest on the corner, which I really like, and then our light background. So let's put this on the table and look at the fabric that we've chosen and why. So Sandy, as I said before, we have this nice big block on the sugar pie pattern, and it will focus or be a great focus fabric for the pattern. Now, whenever I was putting all of this together, it was very interesting because you have a dark background on your fabric here. And whenever I was pulling all of the fabrics together and placing them in my program to see what worked the best, I realized that we needed something to help weight your fabric. And I know that that seems a little strange because it already seems pretty heavy, but it needed it for balance. So what I've done is I've pulled the pink and a black with it, which is a very interesting choice, I know, but let me explain. So we've got your fabric here, that's the focus fabric, that's got the heavy background that will go here. I'm gonna frame your fabric with the black, which is my number 3 that you see here, and it will be everywhere you see the pink here. Now the number 2 fabric, and I know I'm going backwards a little bit here, is going to be the pink, and that's going to be in the background here. Now the pink is lovely, and it brings in the pinks from your fabric. I also liked this pink because there's a little bit of iridescence on this, and it brings some light to the quilt. So I really liked that the reflectiveness of the iridescence on the pink really helped bring the light, and the black helped to balance yours. So let's look at that image on the screen. And as you can see, we've got a great block for your focus, and it is very well balanced and framed nicely with the black. I think it really helps join each of the blocks together. So as you can see, the little corner portions of the block really help kind of tie it together. Then we have your focus fabric on the border as well as the black on the border. So it creates this nice frame. It simplifies it, but it's not too boring. It's a little bit of interest there. And once again, as I mentioned, the pink has some iridescence to it, so it makes it look really bright. It gives it its light. So that's really important. Now, something I haven't done before, and I want to just share with all of you, is I have an image of a quilt that I put together that is a little different. Now, I did not choose this pattern. This is our Sweet Times pattern. I've also used Sandy's fabric as the focus. I've used the same pink as the background, but I was using a small printed black on this one. And whenever I did this, the black didn't anchor it enough. It almost gave it more busyness than what I wanted. And also it didn't seem to have that same balance. I love the way the sugar pie pattern frames each block and gives it some interest. I think both are beautiful quilts, but to feature your fabric and to really showcase it, I think the sugar pie pattern is perfect. So Sandy, I am going to be sending you the pink and the black for participating today. Thank you so much. I'm also going to be sending you the book Pretty Darn Quick 3-Yard Quilts. This has your sugar pie pattern in it. And I appreciate so much for participating today. And I hope that gives you a little bit of insight on why I chose what I chose for the balance and the weight. So for the rest of you, I have something really gorgeous as well. So as a replacement for Sandy's fabric for the rest of you, I have chosen this wonderful floral that's in pinks as well. It also has a black background, and I did that intentionally because we're going to need that same weight like Sandy has in her fabric. So that will look beautiful in your focus position on the sugar pie quilt. Our number 2 is the same pink iridescent, which will be the background. This is going to bring the light to the quilt, and the iridescence is going to give you just that extra little shimmer. And then the same black, which will border, simple black, but we've created the interest with the corners here, and it actually frames the focus fabric just beautifully. And you can see from the image on the screen how wonderful that works and how great it just goes together. And you have that same balance and connectivity that Sandy's quilt also has. So this is a beautiful, beautiful kit. I just love this one, loved the way it turned out. Now the kit information on this one is called Caring Bouquet. It is 8022382. It is Sugar Pie from the Pretty Darn Quick book. Now our next participant is Stella, and she has sent in another floral that I have here, which is just gorgeous. And these, I believe, are chrysanthemums. And it's just all of these vibrant, vibrant colors that just work so beautifully together. Now, what's really interesting is, Stella, whenever I got your swatch of fabric, I thought, oh, this is going to be a fun one. Look at all these beautiful colors that I can put with it. And boy, I understand why it was a little bit challenging for you, because I learned that too. So we'll get into that in just a minute. First, let's see what Stella has to say about her fabric. Stella writes, I bought this fabric in 1998 along with the Stack and Whack books. I also bought the book Through the Garden Gate, which was a book of quilters and their gardens. This was supposed to be a quilt for my mom. Unfortunately, she passed in 2000. I moved and lost both books. Good thing there is no fabric expiration date because the fabric is 24 years old. It's time to make and finish a quilt with this impossible to match fabric. This quilt will be for me, and getting it finished will help me rid the guilt of not getting it done for Mom. Stella says thank you. Well, Stella, I think we've got something great for you. Let's start out with the pattern that we've chosen. Now the pattern that I have chosen for you, Stella, is Through the Window Again. And the reason why I chose this one is because it has a nice balance for your focus fabric and your number 2, and then it has this sashing that breaks it up. But the sashing is a thin sashing and not too heavy. So I think you'll understand what I mean in just a moment. So let's put it on the table and look at that. So here we have Stella's gorgeous fabric and the 2 fabrics that I have coordinated with it. So what I have done here is I have used the focus fabric in the focus position, the number 1 position still, and I've paired it with this wonderful creamy yellow, which is our number 2 fabric. This will be our half square triangles. And then for the number 3 fabric, I've used this nice green, which coordinates with your fabric beautifully, and it's going to go in all of these sashing pieces. The yellow will have just a little square right in the middle here on your sashing. That little square really helps to bring out the brightness in the fabric, and that's very important. The other reason why I chose this one is because of the thinner sashing. Loved the green fabric as the number 3 fabric. However, anytime I put it with a wider sashing or a wider border on a block, it just got so heavy and it didn't work for me. So whenever I put it in this and it was just a smaller touch of it, it worked beautifully. It also balanced out your fabric as the focus fabric. This fabric has really rich, dark, yummy colors, but it also has some weight. So we needed the green to weight it, but we didn't need too much of it in one spot. So doing it in the half square triangles like this really balanced it. The yellow gave it some sunshine, which I really like, and it really gave a pleasing result. I'm sure you can see from the image on the screen how wonderfully that pulled together. Now, I have one that I pulled together that was not quite as, I think, fantastic, still very pleasing quilt. And I want to show you that. This image that you're seeing on the screen is from the engagement pattern. And I was trying very hard to put a kind of a raspberry red with it, kind of a little bit darker, because I was trying to pull out some of these lovely pinks in the fabric. And every time I went to do that, it just seemed to weight it a little bit too much. It didn't brighten it up. Now I had the same number 2 in the same yellow, but it just didn't seem balanced enough. So engagement is lovely. I think the focus on the border is just a little bit heavy for my taste. And there wasn't quite enough yellow balanced with the focus. The number 2 was not balanced with the number 1 to give it the light that I was really looking for. So that's the reason why I chose Through the Window again. Now, Stella, thank you so much for participating. For being a participant, we will be sending you 1 yard of our number 2 and our number 3 fabric, as well as the book, Pretty Darn Quick 3-Yard Quilts, that has this Through the Window Again pattern. So thank you so very much. Now, for the rest of you, let me show you what I've put together. I have here something really lovely. Now, this is a little bit softer floral for you, still chrysanthemums, very nice, and it has a dark background. So it's gonna read the same way with that dark background being a little bit heavier print. So we need to make sure that we balance it. So I've put it with the same creamy, yummy yellow that goes beautifully with the golds in the focus fabric. And then, of course, the same yummy green that picks up all the green in the leaves. And of course, this will be the sashing here on the quilt. And the yellow will be everywhere you see the green here and the little squares. The yellow brings the sunshine, and it's very balanced and not too heavy with the number 3. So love it. As you can see from the image on the screen, it turned out so pleasing and so well put together. So hope you love it as much as I do. That kit information, 8022383. It's Mums for Mom, and it's Through the Window Again from the book Pretty Darn Quick. Now our next participant is Mimi, and she has sent us a fabulous Christmas fabric. And these are just these rich, elegant poinsettias on black with just a little bit of gold surrounding the poinsettias, which makes it very, very elegant and very beautiful. So let's see what Mimi says. Mimi writes, I love the Christmas season. Really, who doesn't? And enjoy having colorful poinsettias to decorate the house. So many color variations bring life to every room. Having said that, I also like to purchase fabric with poinsettia motifs. Maybe use a length to wrap around the base of the tree as a tree skirt, or use a length for a tablecloth. This piece from Hoffman International Fabrics, purchased many years ago, comes out each year. I try so hard to cut it up and incorporate it into a quilt, but just can't bring myself to cut into those beautiful flowers. At one point, I thought I might cut out the flowers and use a raw edge applique. Still haven't done that. Please, Fran, help. Use this gorgeous piece of fabric once and for all. Well, Mimi, I think we've got something beautiful for you to choose from. Here we have our It's a Snap pattern. Now, this pattern showcases fabric beautifully because it actually it can put two focus fabrics together, or a focus and a solid together, and create just this stunning look. And then we have our background fabric here. Let me show you how I've used it on your fabric. Now, before I get too far into talking about our fabrics here and Mimi swatch, I want to just say a few words about how I go about my process of choosing the patterns that I have. We do have a program that we use, and we pull fabrics from online, and we actually go in and order them if that's what we choose. And we put it in many, many, many different quilt patterns. And they all can look really great because, of course, any 3 yards of fabric can go in any of our 3-yard patterns. So they all work. Some are just striking. And whenever I was doing your quilt, Mimi, I had put it in probably a dozen different patterns with a dozen different combinations of fabric. And then out of the blue, I said, I'm just going to try It's a Snap. Whenever I put It's a Snap, your fabric into It's a Snap, and I pulled it up, it was almost like, oh my goodness, it was just stunning. And so I was like, I have to do this one. This is it. And that's kind of crazy, but sometimes that's just how it works. You just do it, do it, do it. And then all of a sudden it is amazing and you know it's the one. So we have used your poinsettia fabric here as the focus, and it'll go in the big block here as well as these other parts over here. Then I have chosen the number 2 as a nice off-white with a little gold dot to bring in the gold of your poinsettia. That will be the background. And then to alternate with your poinsettia fabric, I have put this black with the gold joys on it, and that will be everywhere you see the red. And whenever I put this together, seriously, I was like, oh, that's the one. It was just great. And as you can see from the image on the screen, it is absolutely stunning. It is elegant. And because you have, once again, a floral on a dark fabric, we really needed to weight it in such a way that it worked. But we needed a number 2 to bring lots of light in. And in this case, the little bit of metallic on our number 2 really helps reflect the light and give it the balance that it needs. The other thing is our secondary, which this would be considered kind of a secondary focus, our number 3, balances the poinsettia. The weight is just perfect. The colors are perfect, and it goes together so wonderfully. And what great movement It's a Snap has. So that was also a benefit. Now, I'm going to show you another one that I pulled together that I did not choose. Still absolutely darling. And it is Favorite Things from our Christmas book. And I was actually trying to pull something together with a double focus. I had this great holly fabric, and I was trying to put it with your poinsettias. And it does look nice, I will admit, but it didn't have that striking wow factor that I wanted. I think that in your case with the poinsettias, it was such a strong, elegant fabric that I truly wanted to showcase it. And every time I put the holly with it, it just kind of downplayed it, and I didn't want it to share the spotlight. So whenever I put it with the gold, and the black and the gold have the similarity of color, which unified it. So I think that really made the difference, and that's part of the reason why I went with the black over the holly. So I hope that is a good tip for you, kind of keeping those colors in the same family to really give it that wow factor really makes a difference. So Mimi, we are going to be sending you 1 yard of the white, 1 yard of the black with the joy on it, as well as the Pretty Darn Quick book, and it has the It's a Snap pattern in it. Now for the rest of you, I've got something lovely as well. I have some more poinsettias. Now this does have a little bit of holly on it. Once again, it has the black background that ties together so well with our number 3 black, which really gives it that elegance and stately manner look that I was looking for. So your poinsettias here will go in your big block. The number 2 fabric is the nice cream with the gold dot. It will go in the background, and that of course brings your light. And then our number 3 is the joy, and you can see how beautifully the gold joy letters pick up the gold outline on the poinsettia, and that will go everywhere the red is. So this just will look stunning. You see there, we've got an image on the screen, and you can see it has that same wow factor to it and that same stately, elegant Christmas feel, which I was really looking for. That took my breath away whenever I first saw it on the screen. So I hope you love it as well. Now the kit number, let's get into that, 8022384. The name is Gilded Poinsettias. It is the It's a Snap pattern from our book, Pretty Darn Quick. Now what's really interesting about all three of our participants today and the quilt patterns that I chose for them, they all ended up being from the book Pretty Darn Quick 3-Yard Quilts, which is a complete accident, but it's a great bonus for you because anytime you buy 3 kits from us, you actually can pick a book for free, and this would be a great one with these 3 kits. So keep that in mind. Now, if you would like to participate in our Matchmaker program, just visit our website, go to our free goodies tab, and the submission form will be there. We try our very, very best to get everyone's swatch included in an episode. Bear with me, sometimes it takes a little bit longer because I'm doing all of those images and having to order fabric, but we will do our very best to get you on. We thank you so much and thank everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful week, and thanks for joining us. It's Fran Morgan.